Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading session. Hang on here 1 second. I will get you my monitor. All right, we just had the market open. And, okay, sorry, I'm trying to do a couple things here at once. And multitasking is not my strong suit. Okay, so where we're at, let's take a look here at the overnight. It's actually, we haven't moved a whole lot in the overnight session. In fact, the market taking over essentially from where it left off last week. This is interesting. Trade Forecaster says we are going to be in trend mode for 112 minutes exactly. Well, no, not exactly, but it looks as though trend mode is going to be dominant for at least this morning's session. So we'll see what comes of that. Nothing too dramatic at the moment. All right, a possible first micro macro cross lower here. What time is it? Oh, we're only about 2-3 minutes into the session. The problem with this first micro macro cross is the lack of a test of the extreme, so I wouldn't mind seeing it turn into a macro pullback. It does look as though the market might be heading lower. But of course, it's hard to make that determination without seeing that macro pullback first. If I just put a onesie on here, I can probably risk it up to here. Oh, here we go. We're going to get that macro pullback signal after all. Here we are, first micro macro cross slash macro pullback slash test of the extreme. Oh, they keep retreating. Now, because this is a single contract, I'm going to pull the profit target and see if it doesn't actually turn into a little bit of a runner. I suppose what I should have done just trying to get a feel here for what's going on the rest of the marketplace. Good morning, Jim. Jim giving us some advanced decline numbers, about 1,100 on the buy, nearly 1,400 on the sell. Four arrow consolidation now off of a yellow bar, and you see these bars getting a little bit wider. That's telling us that there's some selling activity going on, and you can see that here on the Geiger counter. I'm also watching gold and crude oil this morning, both of which a little bit on the quiet side. Okay, so it looks as though this is going to be the attempt now by the sellers to move the market. I'm going to go with a um, start rolling my stop in a little bit, and in fact I might go with the bar high low. There we go. So the idea being, if the sellers are now unable to drive the market lower at this stage, I may as well take my stop. And the Geiger counter pressing a little bit lower, so hopefully we will see some follow through on this trade. Okay, we're at break even now. Come on, Geiger counter. Come on, sellers, don't look back. There you go. If they take out this low, we do have a little bit of room to move. No, they look back just a little bit too much, tagged me on break even. We'll see in a moment whether or not that was a good call or whether I should have left the stops back a little bit further. Okay, well, it looks like maybe that was a good call after all. Okay, now a possible first micro macro cross higher. The rest of our tools still waffling a little bit. Jim says the bank index getting a little bit weaker. We'll see how that follows through. Okay, we're getting a green bar sell here on the Eagle. I'm going to try to risk it. Oh, shoot, I can't risk it that far. Come on, risk it to here. That's going to be about my max. So a green bar sell off of the hard edge. I'm looking to sell below the lows. And maybe pick up a little bit of a trend. We do have a little bit of a test of the extreme here. A little bit of a failure, which should send the market lower in search of some sort of support. Geiger counter a little bit neutral at the moment. Thanks, Jim. Jim letting us know the advanced decline getting a little bit weaker here also. About 1,000 on the buy and 15, almost 1,600 on the sell. It's definitely an area where the market is struggling a little bit. All right, getting a first micro macro cross now to confirm. So here the setup a little bit stronger because we can sell below the lows, we can cover above the highs. I just want to see what the Geiger counter is doing here, whether the Geiger counter is pressing. If it keeps pressing against the lows, we should see a failure. And now we're into yellow bars, so we can cancel that. Trend change signal now on the Falcon. So here's the down. trend line changes color. Here's the up, here's the down. The signal is likely to print near these lows. It looks like we've got this kind of range. You could actually bracket this range if you wanted with an OCO style order. Because there's obviously support at the lows. In fact, I'm thinking the OCO order is really the best way to go. Here, I'll do that on the hawk. We'll do an OCO order. So we'll sell below here. We'll buy above here. That looks pretty good. Anything else in between here is really just going to be noise. Our eagle signal, you can see it's struggling, working on perhaps becoming a red bar buy. That would be something. All right, so we sold the Falcon, and what I'll do with the Falcon too, because it's, oh, maybe I'll bring my profit target down to here. I was going to say I'll turn this into a runner also, but maybe I'll stretch the profit target to the primary support line just above there. Don't want to be greedy. Go like that. Okay, why did my OCO order cancel? Excuse me just a second here, folks. I've got to send this to Ben right now. I don't know if anybody else had that problem, but that's happened to me once or twice. And it's annoying to say the least. Okay, come on now. Our Eagle trade, what was that red bar buy or attempting to be a red bar buy, turned over, filled our sell. Notice we got the fill right on the hash mark here. The signal actually developed um, to the downside, getting a little bit of a test now of these lows, looking at the sellers, or pardon me, the buyers coming back into the marketplace. You can see right here on the Geiger counter, the buyers starting to show up. Oh, come on, they're tailing off a little bit. Let's see if the sellers can absorb all that buying. Yeah, Mark had a similar problem with his OCO order. He had two engage. One worked, the other one didn't. I sent Ben the trace file, so he should be able to narrow down what the issue is. Come on, keep pressing. Oh, well done. Jim grabbed a few ticks. He says there's a lot of hammers forming at around the 50 level. That would be on the YM. Here's the mini Dow. So Jim's seeing a bunch of hammer style formations here, so he pulled the pin on his trade, but managed to pick up 13 ticks on 3 contracts. Nothing wrong with that. Come on. Come on, sellers. Just trying to hold on, see if we can't get here to the primary support, which should be the next stop for this trade. I do believe we've hit our high probability target already. Yes, we would have tagged it down here. Let's see if we can't sneak a couple more dollars out of this trade. Nope, a lot of buying activity coming in. Tagged us at the break even on the Eagle, which was a little unfortunate. Still in the Hawk trade. Well, unfortunate. Better than a loss. Nuts. Got tagged break even on the Falcon also. Might see a little retest of that breakout. So if here's the bottom end of this trading range, we get the breakout. Here's the retest. Looking now for a continuation lower. 1, 2, 3. Don't have our 4-arrow consolidation yet. 1, 2. Yeah, working on arrow number 3. And I suppose we have enough structure here that we could shoot a trend line. It's going to look like so. And here we go now with a green bar sell. Are the bears going to be able to hold this together today? Let's see. Oh, the green bar sell has disappeared. A little bit of a mixed bag now. Hard edge bounce on the Eagle, first micro macro cross on the Hawk, possible trend change signal on the Falcon. All right, first micro macro cross. The thing I don't like about this particular one is, again, we don't have a real good test of the extreme, but it is a first micro macro cross signal. We do know it's a high probability signal. Sometimes the market is, or sometimes the tools are smarter than I am. Well, oftentimes. Mark's asking, can you place 2 OCO orders on different markets at the same time? Yes, absolutely, Mark. There's no reason you cannot. Okay, hard edge bounce here now on the Raptor. We haven't looked at a Raptor trade yet. We'll set up to sell here below the low on a continuation lower. Now this is a little bit more aggressive. My stop I'm going to try to leave back a little bit. Oh, I see. Mark asks, can you place 2 OCO orders on different birds but in the same market at the same time? It shouldn't make a difference, Mark. So long as your account is segregated, well, actually, they'll fill on the same side, won't they? Yeah, there shouldn't be an issue with that. Okay, we're just hit our break-even trigger. And I think I'm going to move into parabolics now. Back at the lows, we should see a little bit of struggle here. Okay, Mark says his account isn't segregated. What happens is, like I say, you're going to fill here. We'll do it right here. We'll throw an OCO order in on the Hawk, and we'll sell down here, and we'll buy up here, And then we'll do the same thing on the Eagle, or pardon me, the Falcon. We'll do an OCO order. We'll sell down here. And we'll buy up here. Okay, this isn't a real trade, folks. We're just demonstrating something here. Okay, if we get filled to the short side, our fill is practically the same. We're only a few ticks off. In fact, I will adjust this somewhat. We'll enter below there. All it's going to do is double up your position, right? So if you sell, let's say on the Falcon, where the parameters are tighter, then you can sell again on the Hawk, and rather than have one position short, you'll be short two. Now, if we buy here on the Falcon, you may as well cancel your sell order on the Hawk, because unless you want to use this now as your stop loss order. Because if we buy here on the Falcon, okay, so we just bought on the Falcon, if the market reverses now and fills us to the short side on the Hawk signal, then we've already offset this position. Does that make sense? So the OCO seemed to work fine there on the Falcon. For whatever reason, it didn't work out the last time I tried it here on the Hawk. But if you're trading the same account and now you choose to do, say, an OCO order like this, as soon as you got filled to the short side, you automatically offset this position. So you would no longer be long on the Falcon. And it seems to be the problem is with my Hawk. So let me see. I just got to shoot Ben a quick email here. And we'll get him that file that he needs. Yeah, if you're not trading a segregated account, the best thing to do is actually, if you have, say, two orders pending. Let's say we've got a sell order here on the Eagle, which we do. If you were looking, out of range. If you were looking at taking the sell order, we're getting a hard edge bounce. And we're also getting a first micro macro. Doggone it. Did I just delete that? Shoot, I did. We're also getting a first micro macro cross on the Hawk, which I need to rebuild now. What I would normally do is if one order filled, I would cancel the other, so that you don't get yourself too heavily leveraged. So we had a first micro macro cross down here, and I would have set up to, do this. If it had filled me on the first micro macro cross and had not filled me on the eagle yet, I would have canceled the eagle trade. Oh, we're waffling big time today. We've got a serious case of barbed wire here. Tony says you can nearly draw a straight line right through all those yellow bars. And you see how the market is waffling on either side of that? That tells you that you are in congestion. That the market is perfectly happy where it is. Let's see the same thing here on the Raptor. You could just bracket this range. You could sell below, buy above. Don't make it too tight. You don't want to get stuck by somebody breaking the high by a couple of ticks. Jim in serious scalp mode here this morning. He went long at 43 out at 53. Picked up 10 ticks on 3 contracts. Way to go, Jim. Yeah, no real commitment one way or the other here. I suspect we'll see them bounce back to the bottom end of the trading range. That's typically what they do in these types of situations where there's no real defined trend. Even crude oil hasn't moved that much this morning. Slipped a few cents lower. Nothing too dramatic. The Eagle giving us a green bar sell. The Raptor giving us a, well, kind of a waffly with trend change type signal. Nothing really that we can sink our teeth into though. First micro macro cross here. We're kind of at the bottom end of the trading range though, so caution would be in order. And well, we get a chance at a second push on the entry here. Able to cover near the highs. I would fully anticipate, a reaction here to these lows. So I guess what I should be doing is actually keeping my stop very, very tight. In fact, let me do that now. Not the best looking trade, folks. All right, we hit our break even. Come on. You know what? We're going to swing for the fences here. They took out that low. Let's see if we can't get them to go a little bit deeper still. The Geiger counter very, very weak here. The buy orders kind of failing. Not a lot of orders on the buy side. I'm going to cancel that order there, and I'm going to initiate a stop loss order. So this was the big bracket trade that we were looking at. The big OCO type thing. Yeah, Mark said he had a failure on the OCO order again. obviously there's a little bit of a bug somewhere. Mark, the other thing you can do with the OCO orders, obviously, is you can set them manually, right? You can right click on your chart, and rather than use the OCO, you can just right click. I'm assuming your OCOs aren't ultra tight, but you can sell there, you can buy here, and then as one side fills, you manually cancel the other. All right, that's what we have to do on the Raptor. The Raptor doesn't have an OCO function. But I suspect Ben will be back to me pretty quick, and of course, it wouldn't hurt to follow up with your email either. Jim being the contrarian today. He said he might be looking at getting long down off of these lows. Well, you can see from the width of the bars, a lot of activity going on here. Very important bar right here. A lot of buying and selling going on. And that reminds me, I probably do not have my, oh, I do. I almost thought my equivolume bars were not turned on. Oh yeah, they are. Okay, first micro-macro cross signal worked out, working into a macro pullback. I'm already short on the Raptor here, but this macro pullback, you know, it's, again, we don't have quite the structure that we normally have. Maybe you want to take a look at selling below that bar right there. Could even dial down the risk amount. That would be prudent. Shorting there, covering here. This, of course, here now, the whole problem with breakout trades, right? You get that little bit of a breakout, then there's the reversal. You never really know how those breakouts are going to take. I had a trading friend who always used to say, never trust a breakout. And what we would do is, when we identified an area of support or resistance, we would let the market break, retest, and then sell it. Same thing to the upside. We'd let the market break, retest, and then buy it. That at least gave you a hint as to whether or not the breakout would take. We do seem to be favoring the short side just a little bit. Okay, a possible late filter entry. And a green bar sell. Okay, this green bar sell, I'm not so keen on shorting it, but this is a trade I might consider buying the failure. Shoot, that's out of reach. Oh, because I'm still at 1%. Now the logic is that, okay, we've paid off to the short side. I could certainly continue to sell it, look for a test of the extreme, but the market has really been waffling. So a failure at this level is very likely to see the market retrace and try to capture the highs, which to my way of thinking makes the buy opportunity a higher probability trade than trying to short it. Although it looks like it would have just about reached our profit objective. So I'm going to just let that trade sit for a moment. Here we come with the late filter entry signal, which we know tends to be a high probability signal. So everything is in sync now. Oh, I should have just done a onesie on that. Hold on a second. And the reason I would do a onesie is for the same reason I'm looking at the failure of the green bar sell as a probable buy. Okay, so we can nix that, and we just got filled to the long side here. And since, again, it's a onesie, I'll let the trade run a bit. Jim says the Russell's now bullish. I know they're all over the map this morning. Okay, I guess probably time to get a little bit more aggressive with my stop. All right, we'll use the parabolics. We're testing the top end of the trading range now, as anticipated. We did get a early trend change signal here on the Falcon. Notice the test of the extreme right here. The trend changes color, trend line changes color, everything comes into sync. So there's your early trend change signal. This now here is our more traditional or proper trend change signal where we have the up, that changes the trend line color. Here's the down, here's the up, there's the signal. But of course, we're right back into the top end of the trading range. So this second one, the disadvantage with that one is that we have to risk it relatively deep to try to make that trade work, at least at the outset, because we don't know how the initial momentum is going to play out. And they're starting to waffle a little bit here. Oh, gotta go off the low. There we go. So I'm just going to give them this current bar to sort themselves out. If they break out here, we do have some room. 46.24, nearly 46.25 is the primary resistance. Although I think the highs of the morning were around 46.18. Oh, sorry, 46.14. Yeah, I know, Jim. Jim's shooting some advanced decline numbers here. The advanced decline still rather lopsided. Only 900 on the buy, 1800 on the sell. You wouldn't expect a rally. And yet, the Geiger counter fairly balanced on the orders. If you see the Geiger counter start to favor one side or the other, like as it did here, get a lot of buying pressure, not a lot of corresponding selling pressure, that tips you off that you're going to see a little bit of a rally. There we go. Come on. Keep going. So now we're back at the highs of the day, and we got stopped on that little bit of a hiccup, which not bad, not a bad effort. Okay, a little bit of a press to the downside now, but still looking like we are in retracement mode. All right, this is a macro pullback, and it's also a late filter entry signal. Here, we're going to try the late filter entry. And I probably got to cover it like that. Oops, and it just ran away on me a little bit. Let's see if I can still catch it on the second push. Come on, don't stop now. There we go. Hi, they're sure waffling again. Let's see what's going on with our Geiger counter. A little bit of buying pressure. Okay, so you see the width of these bars. A lot of buying and selling going on here. Just looking for a little bit of follow through. Struggling with the high of the day. Come on, just give me a little bit of a hiccup there. Okay. So again, the Geiger counter looking a little bit more bullish here. And I'm going to swing for the fences here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take profit. I was going to say I'll roll my stop up to the primary at 24. Sure, why not? What the heck? So we're just about hovering at our um, initial profit target. And we'll look at enabling our stops. And I'll go with the parabolics and we'll see how this trade works out. Nice little bit of a retracement there. It's going to struggle here at 46.18. That was our initial profit target. So we have hit that. We'll see whether or not they have the momentum to get through. who says, I'm exhausted. 3 trades plus 85 ticks. I know all this back and forth stuff is brutal. Well, we're testing the top end of the trading range. Like I said, this whole 46.18, 46.20 area, there is some resistance there. We'll see whether they can pop through and actually find our primary, which would be pretty good. All right, we're just going to let that simmer for a moment. We did get a first macro pullback right here. Hard edge bounce on the Eagle and a trend change hard edge bounce on the Raptor. So there were everything was coming into sync, which always makes it a little bit easier to take. Excuse me for just a moment, folks. I'm going to be right back. Okay, and I'm just in time to watch the market hit our profit target. Hooray! Wow. That's a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't sure they had enough to press through to the primary support or primary resistance. I don't know why that should surprise me. Probably just because it looked like such a long ways away. But a pretty good trade on all counts. We had lots of opportunities there across the board. Okay, and things starting to get a little bit weaker. Look at that, hit the right on the number. Hit the primary resistance right on the number, and now we're seeing the market retreat a little bit. Love it when that happens. Could be a little while until we see another trade setup here. We're going to have to wait for some sort of retest and perhaps the market to give us a little bit more structure. Gold still flat. Crude oil made a little bit of a recovery, but still kind of flat for the day. All right, well, just waiting on another signal, like I said. They're pressing a little bit higher still. I'm not sure we're going to see that retracement before we finish our session here this morning. What I would like to see is actually a little bit of a retracement here. Let's go to the eagle. A retracement to the hard edge, which may actually be possible on the hawk. We might get a signal out of the hawk to do that. After which I suspect we'll see another challenge of the highs. Let's say the market tops out right here. And that could lead to a reversal. But, you know, maybe not today. We've put in a rather strong rally. It looks as though they have settled on their direction for the session. But now that we've had that move, I would feel better about going long again off of a little bit of a retracement. This was a pretty steep rally that we took advantage of. And in fact, things are slowing a little bit. We might call it a day for our room today. Yeah, be careful. Like I said, a retracement does seem likely, although certainly not guaranteed. It would be very welcome at this stage. All right, you guys, have yourselves a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning, same time. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.